Yeah, why don't we start with showing them what you got done?
It's just not done.
I know it's not done, but check it out. All right. So.
What do you want me to say?
Well, yeah.
That's version 1.
Yeah. Version 1's over here.
It's not done, and it's never going to be done because we chose different fabric. And this is version 2, which is also not done. But yeah, I mean, I just put it up, so I don't want to like take.
No, you don't have to. We'll show that tonight, but.
But yeah, okay. So there's a magnet there that'll eventually be sewn in, and there's a magnet row across the top that's holding it to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
It'll make it very easy to pull down and also shape up, and it kind of just, it's got like a nice, when it pulls up like that, just, it's nice. It's very nice.
And then eventually it'll be also reversible, like, because there's this solid green layer right here.
Yeah.
And eventually there will be another row of magnets that goes right here, and then I'll be able to just rip the whole thing down and then put it up, and the opposite side will be showing instead. Solid green side.
I think it's perfect. Super nice. All right. Let's see if I can hold my arm up. All right. So, it's past midday already. It's like 1 o'clock, something like that.
Something like that.
We slept in a little bit. Dude, I don't know. This bed like puts us into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that for a while this morning. Like, I don't think we've both mentioned we've had really long dreams. Like, I feel like it's weird because like when you can tell it's morning and you're like deep in these like deep, what would you call that? REM sleep? No.
REM sleep, yeah.
Is it REM sleep?
I think that's when you dream.
I don't remember.
It's REM sleep, pretty sure.
But when we're having these dreams, you can tell it feels like forever. Then when you finally wake up, it's like, oh, it's only been an hour, you know? And it's like, man, like, I don't know, this bed like pulls us into a coma. It's all, I mean, I love it.
It's nice.
Right? But it just makes it hard to get up.
Yeah.
We had to run to town quickly this morning, so we had some breakfast, kind of relaxing, since the last 2 weekends we've been really booking it. So, but what we're about to do is finish this
Pantry.
Yeah, we're gonna put the pantry shelf in, the last one.
One more.
Redo the electrical in that area, and then I'm gonna start cutting the doors. So we should be able to get the doors done this weekend, and then hopefully move on to some stuff under the desk over here. So what we're gonna do though. So we're gonna start working.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's just whenever I have to press with this hand,
Yeah.
it's just not quite strong enough sometimes.
Pantry is together. We only got a few appliances up here. Eventually there'll be another blender head that we left in the storage. And then Paige will have a, what is it called? A KitchenAid? A KitchenAid mixer right here. And then over here we'll section off just a small area for my coffee maker. And down here will probably be dry goods. So right now we're just running the batteries and a few of the other things to get off the floor. Down here some of the harder stuff that we don't get to often. Oh, I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Ow, that one hurt. Oh. Anyways, so it's time to cut the doors though. So I'm gonna go try to get those cut. get the holes done, and then Paige can shellac those today. And another thing I can do is do the little trim pieces too. So we're gonna do 1/2-inch trim right here that's gonna overlap just a hair with a round over. So that way it kind of helps keep things from sliding out too easy. These boards are really bent, so we're going to try to wet them, try to get them a little bit flatter. We'll see how that goes. Alright, good morning. So, today we kind of had a rough start with the grill. So, we picked up a, I think, 7-pound brisket. It's a very expensive brisket. And my goal was to smoke that this weekend. It typically takes a little bit longer than pork shoulder, from what I hear. And so I got up at 5:30 this morning to try to start it as early as I possibly could, because I don't trust my grill yet to just let it go overnight. And I could not get the grill going. I think it was just too cold for it, and I don't have an insulation blanket. And even now it's only hovering around 160 degrees this morning. So, looks like I could be up pretty late tonight waiting on that, but I think we're gonna get it done still. Come on in. What you got for me?
Cheese plate.
Good old cheese snack. What are we having today, since we don't have meat ready to go?
I mean, we're gonna have leftover stew for lunch.
Stew for lunch.
Cheese plate for breakfast. And, yeah, marry me chicken for dinner. I'm gonna make a lasagna to put in the freezer also.
Yes. So that brings us to the topic at hand. What are we doing this weekend and why? What do we prepare for? My arm is killing me, man. Anyways,
the oven's coming in next weekend.
That's right. So it's supposed to be delivered on a Saturday this time instead of a weekday. Because weirdly with deliveries from Home Depot, you have 48 hours to like test it to see if it's damaged. So we have to get as much as we can prepared, or at least to the point where we can just shove the oven in kind of in its place so we can
plug it in.
You know, I guess we'll make a lasagna with it next weekend.
Might as well.
It's super awesome. really excited. But yeah, we spent a lot of time this last weekend trying to decide on what kind of cabinetry we were going to do. For a while there, we were really sure we were going to go with IKEA. You can go and put that up if you want to. We thought we were going to go with IKEA cabinets, but it just looks like they're not going to work for the application that we have here. It's just going to be more trouble, and they're very expensive.
Yeah.
They didn't even have the ones we wanted either. So
Yeah, that's another thing.
I think it was going to be like $1,000, even if they had the ones we wanted, just for this little kitchen area. So I'll be building all of them. So luckily enough, I feel pretty confident in my skills. I think it'll be totally fine. But yeah, so I'm sitting down, drawing up the layout before I go out there and start cutting here in a little bit. Make sure everything is exactly what we need. So yeah, and we picked up more wood yesterday, like 8 sheets of 3/4 inch and another 1 inch board. So we should be set for the rest of this project, hopefully. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna get to work. Okay, so I've been drawing dimensions for a little while now, and I think I have exactly what I need for my 2 wall boards, my runner boards at the bottom, and I think we're gonna have just enough room to give it the oven a lift, so that way it's like a kind of like a toe kick, but it'll allow for our final flooring to fit underneath it without any issues. Should give it some breathing room on the bottom with no issues, and then it calls for the 1.5 inches in the back, which we are also giving it. The only problem we are running into is technically the stovetop is rated. The stovetop that we purchased is rated to be over the top of an oven. However, it calls for 5 inches of clearance, including the countertop. But for me to give the height that I needed to the oven, I've got to bring the oven within like 1/2 inch of the actual like stovetop. But after looking at the dimensions of the stovetop and where it breathes, so like the fan placement on the front, and the way this oven is, so it goes up, right? It's not just a perfect square, it goes up higher, comes over a few inches, then down, then flattens out. So when I'm looking at these two, it actually looks like our oven and the stovetop range will not interfere with each other. They won't collide even at the height that I'm setting them to, but by the time that the oven drops back down and flattens out, that should still give it plenty more than the minimal amount of clearance that the stovetop calls for. So I think we're going to be perfect. So I think it's going to get it about 3.5 inches off the ground, which some people might argue that that's not enough. Some people say that you need 3 inches on each side, but after reading through the installation manual multiple times, it does not call for any room on the sides other than it's basically just a few millimeters. So I think we're totally fine. So let's go get to cutting. I got 2 boards cut for the cabinets, and it was going to be the one for each side of the oven, but it looks like the wall is a little bit more bowed than I expected on the far side, or what will be the door side of the oven. So I'm going to recut another one of these boards, or not recut, but I'm going to cut another one of these boards because these lined up pretty flat in these areas. I'm going to cut it a little bit deeper than what is needed, so that way I can just do a nice trace of the wall and then use the saw to slowly shave away so it'll sit more flush to the 1/2 inch wall. So yeah, anyways, but these two look great. And this is a 1-inch board right here. This is actually, we're gonna use a 1-inch board for our countertop. It's not the prettiest, but we just can't find any countertops we like right now, and they're also expensive. So we're gonna take a nice piece of birch plywood, we're gonna stain it, and then we're gonna use surface top epoxy on it to kind of seal it, and hopefully that'll last a few years and then we can replace it. But the goal is to bring the entire counter up flush, like it is right here, with the windowsill. So it makes like this perfect edge here. I think it looks great. So I think it actually looks really great. But yeah, and that way when you're sitting across the way on the couch, there's nothing impeding your vision across here. It's gonna be beautiful. And then if I lay, hopefully I don't knock this whole shebang over. These are not drilled into the wall. But over the top of the oven, this guy will lay around right here. So, somewhere right here. Oh shit. Yeah, I almost knocked it over. So, about right there. So, 2 induction eyes, a big 24-inch oven, and then this board will actually be over like another inch. And then right here we'll do 2 sets of 24-inch cabinets. 4 small ones, 2 big ones, and then like a kick storage underneath this bottom area. But yeah, should be pretty nice. Should be pretty nice. So I'm gonna leave all this here because I want to let Paige see this. I think she'll like it. Morning. So, a little late start today. We decided to get some sleep. And we got breakfast going on the grill. The brisket was done. We're gonna reheat it this morning after it's rested for about 8 hours. And then we'll slice it up. And yeah, Paige is currently working on her cutting board outside, cutting the handles and the sides. And I'm about to bring in all the boards that we need to put in place here so I know which boards I'm going to cut next. So what I was trying to figure out here is which cable I wanted to run to the other side of the counter. So probably don't remember in the past I ran 4 12 gauge 3 connector lines all the way to the front up here, just in case we wanted one of them for the oven, one for the stovetop, and then one for each end, so that way you could run a high-powered appliance off each outlet. Currently, the oven we got is actually 240, just like the mini split. So I think I might have to use 2 of these wires, but I don't know. It may not actually be using a ground wire, so I can still use one. It requires 20 amps, so if so, we should still be good with our current wire size. I think it calls for a max of 3600 watts, and that would make this capable of doing, if I remember correctly, it'd be like 4,000 at 240. So yeah, so I'm snaking one of the lines to the far end, since now our oven and our stovetop's going to be on this side. I'm thinking we'll at least want one outlet on the far side to run anything else on that side of the counter. So I'm going to snake it in between the wall here. And I've got a little notch cut in my second wall board so it can slide under. And that should keep it behind everything pretty easily. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Towards the late afternoon yesterday, you probably saw me cutting these boards. This is all the spacers that we need for the bottom. So your front guard, your top guard, take up that gap for the oven. And then you also have the spacers at the bottom. So we're basically mimicking 2x4s, but this way, I mean, this wood is a lot stronger, plus I can cut it exactly the height I need, so it was 3.5 inches. And they're gonna be in the bottom, and they'll be what the oven rests on. And then when it breathes, I don't know if these have like vents cut into them, I don't really know. I've never pulled an oven out of a wall actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But it should, the way I'm running the slats, if it's sucking air here, it should be able to pull from up behind itself. Pull it down and then up into it. So either way, when Paige gets ready and we eat, we'll throw these in. Alright babe, why don't you explain what you did to the cutting board this morning before you start coating it.
Okay, well, it used to just be solid and it went all the way down, but it made it difficult for me to pick it up. So now I cut these little, I don't know what you call
notches?
them.
I don't know. Looks great though. Hang on, let me get a little side shot. Having to swap to the spot focus. There we go.
So it just lifts it up a little bit and gives me space for my fingers so I can turn it around on all sides like that.
Very nice. What are you about to do now?
Now I melted some beeswax and some mineral oil together and mixed it up. And now I'm just going to dip my cloth into it and rub it around.
Nice.
That's it.
And then it'll be officially done once it soaks in?
Yeah.
So now the key is getting this guy straight before we start putting the floor ones in. Because you can still technically have this whole thing shift like this, you know?
Then maybe we should not put the floor ones in and put some of these other pieces in first.
Just to square it up.
Yeah, so it's at least square to itself.
That's why I made this guy. Again, I'm carving this guy up. He's not going in permanently. But I made him so we can square this whole section to that wall. Alright, good morning. So, we didn't close it out last night. This is the next morning. We're getting ready to go. I gotta go into work today. Paige's gotta do some errands in town. But, yeah, that's gonna be it for this weekend. Next weekend's gonna be very exciting. We have a big, beautiful package that's coming in. It's supposed to fit in this area here. So, yeah, this is about all we got done. A little bit less than what I wanted to, but I think we got a few other things buttoned up that I'm happy with. But yeah, so see you next weekend.
Cute little boy. Let's squeeze you. Let's squeeze you.
Get him out of here.
Oh.